participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of On Point for today, Friday, the 12th day of June, 2026. My name is Alexis Jeffers, and of course I'm here every Friday afternoon from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. and it is an hour show where I divulge as much as I can and also update persons as to what is happening here on the island of Nevis. And so as I get going this afternoon, let me say good afternoon, of course, to all of my listeners here on the island of Nevis, especially up there in the constituency of St. James, which stretch from the bottom of Zion all the way down into Jones Estate and everywhere in between, including Mount Lily Fountain area. And indeed, I want to also at this point say good afternoon to Violet Perkins over there in Barnaby, Baby, as we would normally call her. And thank you for listening to this show and following this show, Baby. It is important that we also update you as to what is going on along with all of the other listeners, but also to be as truthful as you can, or as we can here, because that is what you believe in as well. And so it is always a pleasure greeting you and all of our listeners, and of course those who are listening on the island of St. Kitts. I want to say good afternoon to you as well. We do have quite a following down there in St. Kitts, and we know that because we get reminded, or we're reminded of that every time we meet someone in St. Kitts and have a conversation. They would tell you plain, I listen to you every Friday afternoon, or I listen to the show on a Tuesday night here, which is what it's called now, Let's Talk, and other shows on the mark and so forth. So people are listening, people are in tune, and we certainly appreciate that. We know you have so many other things you can do with your time, and if you choose to spend some time following the programming here on Von Radio, it is testimony of the impact that Von Radio has had over the years, over the last 30-something plus years, as one of the premier radio stations here in the Federation and beyond, we can say within the OECS, within CARICOM, within the Caribbean in general and further afield. So, Von Radio continue to be the best and most powerful voice out there. Let me say good afternoon to the folks down in Statia, Sabre, St. Bart's, French and Dutch St. Martin, of course. We do have a large following down there also. And of course into the British and US Virgin Islands, Puerto Rico as well. And coming back further east and south, Antigua and Barbuda, Montserrat, Guadeloupe, Dominica, St. Lucia, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada. Of course, further south, you're looking at Trinidad and Tobago and Guyana, of course, on the South American continent. We sometimes, somehow skip over Barbados. They're out there in the east. So it's not in the actual chain as you go down, so sometimes you miss. The geography sometimes, fail us in that regard. But Barbados, yes, good afternoon to the folks there in Barbados. We do have some students and citizens who live there as well. I can think of quite a number of our citizens who live there. I say good afternoon to you. And then up into the north of us, the United States of America, starting all the way down in Florida and heading all the way up to those smaller states in the northeast. And of course, New York, the state of New York, specifically also the city of New York. And I'll say something about New York just now, but let me finish up my greetings. And then we move up into Europe or into Canada first and foremost. Folks in Canada who are listening, good morning, good afternoon, whatever the time is in your neck of the wood. I say good afternoon to you or good morning. And then, of course, up in Europe, it's afternoon now, since they're about, 4 hours ahead of us, yeah? I say good afternoon to you there in England, in Scotland, in Wales, in France, Germany, wherever you are, Denmark, good afternoon. And then, of course, we go into Asia, Japan, and more specifically, the Republic of China, Taiwan, our partner and friend. But we do have quite a number of our citizens there going to school, working, perhaps some are visiting as well. If you are visiting the Republic of China, Taiwan at this point in time, I say kudos to you, because it is some distance away. As a matter of fact, out of, let's say, New York to the Republic of China, Taiwan, it's about 15, just over 14, 15 hours thereabout. So it's a good distance, and it's quite a number of hours, yeah? But it's well worth the trip. Been there a couple of times, and it's a beautiful place to visit. And I will encourage all of us who can, well, go ahead and do so. Once you have the spending power to do that, that is, yeah? Okay, coming back home, yes. And at least at this point in the show, we normally would express sympathies to all of the grieving families out there. And I don't have any specific family before me at this point. But I want to say, if you are, or you have lost a loved one, I want to say, well, best wishes to you, and accept our condolences. And of course, continue to put your trust and faith in God, and He will provide the comfort needed for you to go through these challenging and difficult times. And keep in mind that the Lord will never give us more than we can bear, but this is a process that all of us will have to go through at some point in our lifetime. And so those who are going through it now and who have gone through it before, if you can just call up someone who is grieving, or someone who are having challenges at this time, it will certainly be some comfort to them, and they'll certainly appreciate that as well. I also want to say get well greetings to anyone who are over there at the Alexandria Hospital, or if you're home recovering, for example, from some ailment or some illness. I pray that you'll get well soon, so that you could be back on your feet to make the contributions that you've always made towards the development of this our beloved island. And so we wish you well. We ask God's blessings upon you, and He will see you through this one, of course, yeah? Okay. Moving right along. Sometimes in life there is death, but persons are being born every day, yeah? And of course, someone is celebrating a birthday today, or celebrating some major milestone. And I want to say at this point in time, we are expressing best wishes to you and congratulations to you as well. For those who are celebrating birthday today, I say have fun today. Go out and enjoy yourself later. Spend some money on yourself. Make sure that today is a day that is symbolic in many ways, that you're registering that you have achieved another milestone. And so, you know, whatever funds you have, spend it on yourself. I want to say happy birthday to this fellow, what's his name again? Lalbo Jones. Well, his correct name is Lavelle, but since I know myself, I've known him as Lalbo. Lalbo was one of those DJs that you know, started off the whole activity and activities that we had over here at Spotlight nightclub back in the day, way back in 2003, I believe it was, late 2003, I believe, yeah. Lalbo, as a part of the Wreck Life movement, was one of those guys, you know, very vocal on the mic. Lalbo, good afternoon to you. DJ Lalbo. Well, I know Lalbo would know what to do to enjoy himself. He will have a drink or two or whatever the case might be. And I say, congratulations, sir. And of course, when you meet Lalbo, just express happy birthday to him. So today is his birthday, the 12th of June. I don't have anyone else for today, but like I said, there are many persons, I'm sure, who are celebrating today. Have fun, enjoy yourself, and as they say, enjoy to the max. but be careful in your enjoyment. Now, tomorrow, Saturday the 13th, I have here Donna Jeffers. That's a cousin of mine over there at Nisbet Settlement. She works up at the Alexandra Hospital, an EMT. Good afternoon to you, Donna. Enjoy your day tomorrow. And of course, Prince Walters is celebrating his birthday tomorrow as well. Both of you have a wonderful time tomorrow and be safe about it. And Sunday, of course, we have Dijon Jack. Everybody know Dijon. He's celebrating on Sunday. And then, of course, Monday, there's quite a number of persons who are celebrating. But in particular, Rosemary Dunn Carey, she has this place over here in Prospect, Rosie's Patties. I think that's what it's called, yeah? Just over there in Prospect here. So I have connected you to her business place so you know who she is now. And when you catch up with her on Monday, express birthday greetings to her. Happy birthday in advance, Rosemary. And of course, Tareen Brown. He's over there in Prospect as well. I believe I'm right with this one. I hope I'm correct. Fayan Jones is celebrating on Monday as well. Fayan, happy birthday in advance, but I'll get a chance to express happy birthday to you when it comes as well. But I have a cousin down in St. Martin who is celebrating his 50th birthday on Monday. Everson Quayle. Everybody know that I'm a Quayle as well. I'm a Jeffers and a Quayle. I don't carry Quayle now, but I'm still a Quayle for whatever legal reasons there are. I don't do so anymore. But Everson Quayle is celebrating on Monday. He'll be 50 years old. Major milestone. And so I wish you well, Eversley, and wish you many more years of celebration as well. Randicia Chapman is celebrating on Monday also. A good friend of mine there from Rollins. Hard time area. Happy birthday in advance to you. And then over in St. James, Ayana Jones and Elson Williams. We all know Elson. Elson is from the Fountain area. I don't know if he lives in Fountain anymore, but he's somewhere around. I see him from time to time. But anyway, Elson, we know who you are. The whole public should know who you are as well. Happy birthday to you when it comes on Monday. And of course on Tuesday, Cecil Shark Farrell down there in St. Thomas is celebrating his birthday on Tuesday. So Shark, I will get a chance to shout you up on Tuesday, I'm sure. But I'm expressing that early here on the public airwaves. And so happy birthday in advance to you, Cecil Shark Farrell. And of course on Wednesday of next week will be the birthday of Vernice Weeks. Vernice Weeks is up there in New York. I hope these things are correct, because I almost thought that Vernice celebrated her birthday sometime earlier this year. But when you check Facebook, unless the wrong data or the wrong information was placed onto these various Facebook pages, if it is incorrect, then I'll divulge the incorrect information. If it's correct, then I'm correct. As simple as that. But I see Vernice celebrating on Wednesday the 17th. If she is celebrating, happy birthday in advance, Vernice, and God bless you. And may God provide you with many more years of celebration. And of course, yesterday was the birthday of Lanicia Burke from over there in Butlers. I haven't seen Lanicia for some time, but I said I'll express birthday greetings to you, Lanicia, and hopefully you had a wonderful day yesterday. Well, someone like you gets a chance to celebrate for not just one day, not 2 days, but for the rest of June. So whatever you do, just have fun throughout the month of June. It's your month, and no one can restrict you. No one will stop you. So go ahead and enjoy yourself, eh? Okay, excellent. So we leave the birthday greetings for now and move on. But everyone, just have a wonderful time on your birthday. And may God continue to bless you and pour His blessings upon your head and upon you in total, and make sure that you can live to see many, many more years of celebration. Well, the weather outside is very hot, warm, hot, whatever you want to say about it. It is typical summer weather. We're not quite there. We're not at the point of summers yet. Summer starts on the 21st of June, which is what, next Sunday. Yeah, that is normally the longest day of the year to start the summer as well. And so we are hoping that it doesn't get any hotter, but typically we get some hot weather during the summer. The farmers, of course, are out there probably praying for some rain, And I too will pray along with the farmers so that they can get some relief, so that their crops can be watered. But it's a difficult time to plant crops, of course, but we do need something to sustain us. So for our farmers, I know it's an expensive venture, but drip irrigation is what you probably need at this point in time. Yeah. But question is how you'll accomplish that. You'll have to figure that out. Or the next thing is to consider is question at SIDU, that is the Small Enterprise Development Unit down there on Chapel Street. Ask a question. I believe drip irrigation, I don't know what the cost is, but a couple $100, I believe, sold here on the island of Nevis. I do believe it's worth a question to see if there's any way you can afford some drip irrigation to bring some relief and make sure that you can sustain yourself and have some food items to sell to our people. But we cannot just dismiss the fact that it is hot, water is available, and you just have to figure out a way to sustain yourself in this challenging time. And I would remind our farmers that Israel, for example, which is in a desert area, the conditions there are much harsher than we would have here on the island of Nevis, but they're the ones who invented the drip irrigation system, and they are large producers of various crop items. And so it is important for us to understand that it may be challenging, may be difficult, but where there is a will, there is a way. And so think about ways in which you can survive during these difficult times. But like I said, the important thing is water is available even though the rainfall is not there. We have been told that for the next couple of months we'll experience some drought conditions, but that should not prevent us from at least trying our best to put crops into the ground, crops that might be resistant to these particular harsh conditions. There are some which are susceptible to the conditions, of course. Things like tomatoes and so being planted in the open field will have challenges to grow. And so you can look at various root crops. You can look at whatever your experiences have taught you over the years in terms of what type of crops would be best planted at this time. You know, when I was at the Ministry and Department of Agriculture as the minister, I used to insist that we plant root crops around this time. Now that we are in the hurricane season, I've always said let us plant root crops. Why? Let's say we were to have a storm of any sort, and you have, crops above the ground, banana trees or sweet corn, for example. Those are susceptible to heavy winds or severe wind conditions. Yeah. By the time a storm blows through here at, if it happens at 40, 50 miles per hour, those will be on the ground. But if you have things like sweet potatoes, yam, tanya, and perhaps what else? I don't think we plant white potatoes here, but especially sweet potatoes, and even pumpkin and those type of crops will survive. You may have waterlogged fields along the way, but by and large those crops normally would be the best to have planted around this time, so that at least if there is a adverse condition or major hurricane or major storm, then there is something to eat thereafter. And sweet potatoes will be an excellent crop to plant at this point in time. So we used to focus mostly on root crops at the Department of Agriculture around this time, heading into the summer months and even down into September and the likes. Yeah. So that is just some bit of advice. May not be as perfect as the true agriculturist would provide it to you. So if you're seeking any assistance and any information or guidance, you can check the folks at the Department of Agriculture, extension officers, the director, or whomever, and they would guide you along the way and give you the best possible advice as to what might be the best crops to plant at this time. But like I say, we have to eat, and so we have to plant. But plant the crops that are most resistant in this particular type of climate that we are seeing these days. Harsh climate, that is. Yeah. Okay. moving right along. In terms of public service announcements, as I said last week, for the next couple of weeks heading into the end of July and the start of August, before we have this event, the Herbert Beach Affair, we'll be talking about it. I've already started to make the contacts with the entertainers that we'll have over there. So it is in the planning stages, and I've already received calls from persons regarding booth and the likes. We normally would construct about 10 to 12 booths, and the reason being is because we want to make sure that the limited amount of booths would ensure that persons who come to operate those booths will get a better chance of making some money, instead of having a large amount of booths and then the sales are small. That can be somewhat a negative feeling will come about as a result. And I don't want people to be dejected at all, because we normally have a decent crowd over there. And so if you have 10 to 12 booths, then of course the choices, are up to 12 booths, and persons can patronize as many as they can. But the event is truly on. We'll have the usual items that you're accustomed to getting over there. And of course, those folks who let me say the artisans who will sell their various items like bracelets and t-shirts and various craft items, they will be on that day operating their booths as usual. So there'll be a chance for you as a visitor to or even a citizen or resident to buy these items that you're accustomed to buying, whether you buy them at the stores or whatever the case might be. You'll get a chance to walk up and touch them and feel them and try them on and that kind of thing. So we'll have those over there as well. So Herbert Beach Affair, we'll talk some more about that, but that will be an event that is going to be held this year, God's willing. And while I'm at that, of course, we are preparing for Mango Festival, which commences on the 2nd of July to the 5th of July, and all of the promotions are out there in high gear. A lot of promotion is being done at this point in time. This should be the 12th annual hosting of this event, and if anyone can recall when it started small, yes, and I'm sure along the way some may have become despondent in some way, and I would want to use the word dejected as well too, because it was small then, and the responses were not as great as it is now. But it is testimony to the fact that even though you may be having challenges in life or difficulties, you should stick with what you're doing. Just stick with it and continue to improve as you go, and apply more, exert more effort, and you'll realize that it will soon pay off. And so we have seen some huge crowds in the last couple of years, especially 10th anniversary about 2 years ago. There was a large showing last year, just as big as the year before, and of course this year it is expected to be just as big. And so we are preparing for that, and I want to ask everyone to keep that on your calendar. Not only that, if you're listening to me overseas, it's not too late to make your plans to come. Come on up or come on down to Nevis to enjoy our 12th hosting our 12th anniversary of Mango Festival. It is a beautiful event, and it's one where you have persons from all over the world, so to speak, who come to enjoy this event. So I welcome one and all. And then of course we're moving into Culturama thereafter, and that's why I mentioned Herbert Beach just now, because Herbert Beach Affair is a part of the Culturama calendar of activities and festival. So Culturama is truly on. There have been some events thus far. I believe last Saturday evening there was a soca teaser or something like that up there in Gingerland at 869. Didn't go inside, but I was in the area, and there was a large support, some large support that was there for that event, and I want to encourage our people to support these events that are, call them prelude to the major festival when it comes. And so the vibes have to be built as we go along, and so I encourage everyone to go out and do just that. Yeah, tomorrow is Global Wellness Day, June 13th, and of course I believe there's a walk planned for tomorrow by the Four Seasons Resort. The reason why I mention that is because I believe I have the strength, and I'll get my t-shirt and I'll go on that walk tomorrow. And I don't know the route, but wherever they go, I'll go. If they go to Nevis Peak, I'll go. Let's put it that way. I want some physical activities in my life, so let me go and do that tomorrow with the Four Seasons Resort. So I got a call earlier this week to remind me, so I'm gonna go there after I'm done here to get my t-shirt and get myself organized for tomorrow's walk, Global Wellness Day. And even though Global Wellness Day is just a day set aside for recognition of health, wellness, and fitness, it is something that we must do or try to commit to 12 months of the year. Some of us can't walk every day, or we can't go out on the streets or on the track or whatever the case might be every day, every week, every month, but make it as regular as you can, and your feeling will be so great and so nice thereafter. And what I can speak to regarding that is our canvassing that we have done over the last week and up to Monday of this week. We were in Bath, yes. We've done some walks to the various constituencies, and believe me when I say this, I feel so good when it's all said and done. And so any walking that you can do, any physical exercise that you can do, kindly do so. Get that sweat going and get some of the toxin or whatever the case might be out of your body. And so, speaking of the CCM and the canvassing, we are putting together a new schedule of areas and time and dates when we'll be out on the road again to speak with our citizens. And as we have said from day one, well, we don't know when an election will come. I don't know either. But the bottom line is we're going out there and we're speaking to our people, and we're gathering the information that is being imparted and passed on to us, so that we can act on these information and these requests accordingly. And so wherever we're coming soon, we will let the general public know where we'll be over the next week or so, and then we'll come out, and we expect, as we've had in the past, the warm embrace and the the camaraderie that we will experience out there on the canvassing trail. And so there are times when people will put all kinds of things on Facebook about what we are doing, and that is fine. It is fine. It means that some people are following, some people are looking, and some people are looking something to do. So we have given them something to do. And the more we walk is the more they'll talk. The more we walk is the more they'll print. The more they print is the more they'll say. And the more they say is the more we'll walk. Because we enjoy doing it, and we are a party that embraces people, and we believe in people, and we're going out there to meet our people. That is our citizens of Nevis, residents of Nevis, and even visitors who will tell us from time to time that they're here for the first time or they're here for the second time, and it's the most beautiful island they've been to ever, and they plan on coming back. Those are like music. Those words are like music to my ears when I hear people say they're here for the first time and they're so impressed with the cleanliness of the island. They're impressed with the beauty, they're impressed with the friendliness of the people, they're impressed with the infrastructure here on the island of Nevis, and of course wherever they're coming from, they say, listen, I wake up in the morning and I have no difficulty or no doubt that I'll meet water in my pipe, and electricity is always on, and I'm living the dream and the life that I want to live right here in Nevis. That's what they'll say to us when we get out there, and say to me as well too, because I talk to quite a number of people, yeah. And so when we say seeing is believing, and don't let people tell you anything, come check for yourself. People are coming to check for themselves, yeah. And when they come to check for themselves, they realize what they've been reading, what they have been hearing, what they have been seeing, or what have been said out there on social media and other platforms. They know it is a bold-faced lie about the island of Nevis. Because when they come, you can't tell them otherwise when they're experiencing the best that they have experienced. You cannot tell them otherwise. And so, seeing is believing, yeah? And when we talk as a party, the Concerned Citizens Movement, that is, what we say we mean, and we mean what we say. And when we tell you that we have invested heavily in water and the results are there to show, that is what we mean and that is what we say. And when we tell you that our electricity is reliable, that is what we mean and that is what we've said. And of course you think about everything else, our road infrastructure, or standard of living, and the cost of living. You can have a debate, but based on the cost of living here on Nevis, it is not as high as many other countries and territories. And of course, a lot of what we sell here and a lot of what happens here, our economy is tied to the North American economy or the European economy. So whatever we purchase in those countries and is brought here to the island of Nevis, it's like you're importing a high cost of living. But of course, I want to continue to implore upon our business persons to try your best and maintain reasonable prices as best as you can. Sometimes you can forego a large profit and get multiple turnover or turnover in volume to make the same profit you'll try to squeeze out of someone at a high cost or high price. Yeah, what I mean by that is that if the price is reasonable, people are going to come and buy more. But if it is high, the price of a certain commodity or item is high, they'll probably buy 1 or 2. But if it's a reasonable price, they'll probably buy 10. So you'll certainly end up moving more goods, and of course your profit will still be there, but it will be measured in the amount of or the volume of goods that you sell. So sometimes you just have to balance that out and figure out what is best for you and what is best for your customer. I went off on a tangent there, but that's okay. It's a matter of imparting and perhaps educating as you go. And so what we do here on the island of Nevis, we are proud as a government, the Concerned Citizens Movement that is, because people are coming and people are endorsing, if I were to use that word, what is going on here, because of course when they come, they realize that what they have been hearing is completely false, and when they come here, they get the realities of what exists on Nevis, and that is, as I've said before, decent infrastructure, great standard of living, beautiful place to be. And of course, what also strengthens my point is that persons are coming here in droves, whether they're coming from Jamaica, whether they're coming from Trinidad, St. Lucia, St. Vincent, Dominica, wherever they're coming from, they are coming. And no one will leave their country or their island and come to an island where they know things are worse off than where they left, the country or island that they left. And this is not pitting Nevis against anyone else, because we would have had our citizens who would have left here and gone to our neighboring islands, whether it's St. Martin, whether it's British Virgin Islands, whether it's the US Virgin Islands, or even the United States or Europe. They would have left in their numbers back in the 50s and 60s and 70s when things were really challenging around here, difficult. I can recall my mom left, as my grandmother would always tell me, your mom left when you were short 1 day to make a year. So that's what happened then. But she left and made a life for herself. Sadly, she's no longer with us. But by way of example, that is what happened then. That was back in the 60s, and the 70s were difficult. Well, we have had a reversal of that now. A reversal whereby instead of us leaving and there's that brain drain, people are coming in. Those who would have gone abroad to study are staying here now. And those who are out there coming back to contribute to the development of the island of Nevis, because life here is much better in than many other areas. And it is not that way by chance. It has become the best place to be because of the policies of the Nevis Island Administration, which is run by the Concerned Citizens Movement. The policies and the different plans and programs that have been put in place to ensure that we are doing what we should do to ensure the survival and the overall development of the island of Nevis. Considering throughout the global community and the global space out there, things are much more challenging than they are here. So we are looking at the data from overseas and looking at the challenges that are out there and trying to make the circumstances here on the island of Nevis much better. I'm going to go on to some issues now, but before I do so, I made a note here, because sometimes person will say that they have not heard Or why did not we say these things? And there is a saying out there that the best form of communication is to repeat certain things, and that's how the message is received. Now, here on the island of Nevis, we have seen an increase in construction here on the island of Nevis. Construction is robust here on the island of Nevis. And irrespective of what anybody say, what I want persons to do is, when you travel along Long Point Road, you'll see a sand pit over there, some white sand that came from Guyana. Just look at it. You're not necessarily counting anybody's money, but just look at it and see how quickly that volume of sand decreases over the weeks and months that it's there. Now, there's a new shipment that I believe came in there a few weeks ago, and I passed there this morning and I was amazed to see the amount that has gone, that has been removed, sold, or whatever the case might be. Why I say that, that is an indicator to some extent as to what is happening when it comes to construction. Plus, of course, you can look at the trucks that are on the road, concrete trucks that is, moving back and forth from 7 in the morning until late in the afternoon, and sometimes on weekends. I can tell you that concrete is not going in a gut somewhere to be dumped. It is going to a construction site. And of course, the folks down at TDC, the folks at Hosford's, the folks at Island Tires and more will look at the volume of sale and say, well, something good is happening here on the island of Nevis. And so I want it to be even better, and that is why I brought this note along, because during the presentation made by the Premier in December, the budget presentation, he would have alluded to the fact that we are continuing some of the concessions that were offered in 2025 and even before that in 2024, but they're continuing with those concessions in 2026. Meaning, if you're out there seeking to build or renovate your property, your house, then of course there are concessions available to you. If you're building a new construction of new building, a new home, then of course there is a $400,000 threshold whereby you can qualify for concession, but I don't think that is a hard and fast number. From what I know, persons who are constructing houses of less than that 350,000 still qualify for concession. These are first-time homeowners. I must put that footnote there, that if you're building for the first time, but if you have your existing home and you want to do some renovation, like paint up, change some doors, windows and the likes, there are concessions available to you. If you want to do some fencing, like fence your property, which is something that Nevisians love to do and always do because of the roaming animals and so forth around here. People like to fence their property so that they can do something on their property in terms of agriculture, backyard gardening, that type of thing, yeah? And plus it's additional security as well too. So if you want to fence up your property, you can go to the Ministry of Finance and find out what concessions are available to you. Not only that, if you want to you will do internal repairs, new tiling, and the likes, all this, paint up the outside or whatever the case might be, they're offering some significant concessions to you down there at the Ministry of Finance. And it doesn't have to be items bought here on the island of Nevis. You can import those items as well, and you get the concession at the port. I will encourage persons to utilize what we have here on the island. Let TDC and Haas for them concern themselves with the importation, yeah? And you just go down and enjoy the comfort of shopping, and they deliver it for you. But of course, if you need something that they don't have or something that you desire, you'll have to buy overseas, and nothing is wrong with that. But you'll end up getting those concessions still. So we want to continue to let construction be a major pillar that we can rely on, because here's what happens when you have robust construction. Money going to the economy every day, as a matter of fact every minute, because somebody is always buying something, whether on cash purchase or whether on credit, because of course you can get your account at one of these hardware stores. But every minute of the day, money goes into the economy. Every week, persons collect their wages. Some get weekly, some get bi-weekly, and some get monthly, I believe. I don't know what they pay schedules are like. But of course, Those monies then are used by the recipient, whoever the worker is, to buy various goods and services here on the island of Nevis. Of course, those who have a family would have to feed their family, send their children to school. Those who have mortgages to pay will pay mortgages. Those who have car notes to pay will pay car notes. Those who go out and lime on a weekend or lime on a given evening will go to our local shops and bars and so forth and buy drinks and buy eats and so forth. So that small business receive the resources and the revenue that they need to sustain themselves and keep buying new supplies for their businesses. So there's a multiplier effect out there when it comes to construction and other areas of the economy, but I'm speaking construction now, whereby we have a robust industry at this point in time, and it is felt throughout the economy for sure. There's a rippling effect because, like I said, there's a multiplier effect whereby you buy something here and based on your purchase, those monies are used for other things, or you get your wages and your money is used for so many things. Yeah, and so it is important for us to keep that going, and I feel confident about what is happening in that area because there are more construction sites that will be opened up over the next couple of weeks and months here on the island of Nevis. And so I am pleased with what I'm seeing, and I want us to continue to do what is necessary to improve our lives and our situations as it is. And I want to encourage those persons out there with any buildings that are in a state of disrepair. There is a huge demand for real estate here on the island of Nevis, meaning rental property. And of course, if you have some issues and you need to resolve those issues, please do, because if you can get the repairs done and get that building on the market for rental, it will be snapped up in a minute. People are looking places to rent. People are moving to the island, and I'll tell you, they're not coming here with a house on their head or a house on their back. They're coming here and wanting to go into a house or rental property somewhere. So that is an area of investment that anyone out there who can afford to, please do so. If you have a piece of land, a quarter acre, half acre, and it's sitting there, and you have the title for it, ask a question of the bank. What can you do to finance me to get a small rental property going, so that you can certainly capitalize on the uptick we've seen here on the island of Nevis, whether it's an Airbnb as well. Persons are moving away from the regular hotel property and love to stay in Airbnbs. Why? You do so and you have the space to yourself. You move at your own pace. You can go and do your own shopping to prepare whatever you want to prepare within your own space. You don't have to depend on a hotel staff or anything, even though hotels are important in the whole scheme of things. But I'm just saying the Airbnb properties are increasing throughout the world and increasing here in the Caribbean, and of course there's nothing wrong with Nevis being on that particular trajectory as well, where we have an increase in Airbnbs because people are moving to that type of style of accommodation these days. So I am encouraging all of us to invest in those areas because the return will certainly be there. And of course the banks, as we are told, have billions of dollars to lend. The bank has to become more liberal now and start to look at these things more closely, because once you have a regular mortgage to pay and the property is being rented, that mortgage can be covered by the rental revenue that is received. So banks will have to do what is necessary to ensure that we're doing what we have to do here on the island of Nevis. In speaking of construction, I want to just touch quickly on the airport, the proposed airport expansion project that we believe will have a groundbreaking ceremony, I believe, around the 24th of June. Yeah, we're working towards that date, and the planning has started, and of course the execution will come around that time. Yeah, we are finalizing all of the details when it comes to contract and cost of construction and the likes, and so those discussions are ongoing, and we're working towards a groundbreaking ceremony around the 24th of June, give or take days. Yeah, but this is the month that we are moving towards such thing happening, and we're moving with alacrity. We've had some setbacks, And if I can remind the people of Nevis that we have secured the financing for the air side of the development or the expansion project already. That was done some time ago, months ago. And of course, we were in the process, and we have had the approval of the loan for the land side. The difficulty with the land side is that we were waiting the approval of a guarantee by the federal government since December of last year. We haven't gotten that up to this point in time because we have heard so many things about the possible increase of the debt to GDP ratio and all kind of like excuses I've been hearing. And so when you think about it, you ask yourself the question, why do we have a major development such as the airport expansion, which is a revenue generating project? Why do we have this discussion about debt to GDP ratio when this particular development will pay for itself? And when I look at other countries in the region, let me say in the OECS, for example, let me start there. St. Kitts Nevis have one of the lowest debt to GDP ratio, which range somewhere between 60 to 63% of debt to GDP. For example, in Antigua, I believe it's about 75 to 80%, approximately 75 to 80% debt to GDP. In Dominica, it's about 100 to 105%. In Grenada, it's about 65 to 70%, and of course, St. Vincent is about 85 to 90%. St. Lucia, about 75% debt to GDP ratio. Why I mentioned those numbers? Those numbers have not stopped those countries from doing what they have to do. For example, in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, they have a brand new airport down there. Brand new, opened a few years ago, receiving international flights from Canada, from England. As a matter of fact, Virgin Atlantic fly into St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and of course the United States, yeah, plus regional travel. And then of course you go to Dominica. They have a runway which is about 5,700 feet. They have now started a brand new airport construction, and at least they're anticipating they'll have their new airport open by I think 2028 or something like that. But that hasn't stopped them from moving ahead with their development. And of course, everyone around us, as I've said before, are either building brand new airport, expanding an existing facility, improving existing facilities, and doing what is necessary to ensure that that gateway to their country or their island is open, and it is of a certain standard whereby there are no difficulties with the various agencies out there that requires each country to maintain a certain standard of operation, level of operation, in order to ensure their safety standards that are being adhered to. So when we talk about this expansion up there at the Van Samer International Airport, we are seeking to get among the crowd that is out there seeking to do what is best for their country and their island. And so we are doing likewise here in Nevis. And so when we hear of this debt to the GDP ratio, you see some of the arguments that are being made. Everyone is focused on what that debt to GDP ratio is, as mandated or advised by the IMF or the World Bank. But they won't tell you that the IMF and the World Bank also says that there are certain developments that can be done irrespective of how high your debt to GDP ratio is. And so they have set an infrastructure like an airport, which will certainly spur economic activity. Yeah, there's nothing wrong with expanding on an airport, because there will be revenue streams from various areas during the operation of that particular newly upgraded or updated facility. For example, airline fees, taxes that airlines would pay, departure taxes, for example, navigational fees, parking fees, rental space within the airport terminal, lighting fees, cargo, revenue generated from cargo, handling of cargo, I should say, sorry, and lease arrangements that you'll have with various airlines. All of these are areas of revenue generation as well. Of course, there'll be expenses to cover, yes. But If you're improving an airport infrastructure as indicated by the IMF or the World Bank, if you're improving such infrastructure not just to accommodate the same regional aircrafts that you would accommodate, when I say regional, I mean aircraft such as Winair and Cape Air and Transanguilla, those aircraft, if you are airlines, if you are improving your facility just to accommodate those, then it would not make much sense. What we have said is that we are improving that facility so that we will have international travel. And the design aircraft that we are seeking to accommodate is the Embraer 175 from areas such as Miami, Atlanta, all up and down the East Coast. Any one of those airports up and down the East Coast will be accessible to aircraft leaving here, going there, or leaving there, coming here. And that is why when we talk about debt to GDP ratio, yes, there are concerns there as well. But of course, if there is a revenue generating project that is contemplated or proposed or that is to be executed, that is going to change the ball game and move beyond what you currently have. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that based on what I have read. And that is what I have always said. You know, there are times when persons will say things, they would present a side of an argument, one side of it, but they won't give you the other side. Why? It's because they know persons are not going to go and read and research. Yeah? And I've always said that we went to school in our early years to learn to read. And now that we are older, we go now to read to learn. And that is why it's important not just to sit on Facebook and read what other people are putting out there as an opinion, but go and do some research. Google, almost anything you put into Google, a Google search these days, any topic, you'll get to some results. Check the origin of it. It might come from the Washington Post, it may come from Times Magazine or whomever, it might come from what do you call it now? It may come from the IMF, it might come from the World Bank and all of the different institutions out there that have various posting and various opinions that they put out there based on their research over the years. And so these are some of the things we must rely on. So whereas there's an argument about debt to GDP ratio, there's also one that suggests that you don't necessarily have to be bogged down with that or rely on that, because if you are constructing something that will generate revenue from various sources to repay that loan, then of course it is a worthwhile investment. And so that is why I keep saying to us, go and read and understand that there are certain things out there that we don't necessarily have to, you know, concern ourselves with or rely on. Because if I were to go further, the World Bank is also saying at least the expansion of an airport could lead and will lead to new hotel investment, will also lead to job creation, will also lead to spur private investment, whereby private persons will see the need to capitalize on such investment of the expansion of an airport. So either which way, there's always the upside to a negative view. The negative view is, oh, we don't want to increase the debt to GDP ratio any further. But the upside to that is that if you increase the debt to GDP ratio, then you'll have this multiplier effect out of it, where jobs will be provided throughout the construction and even after the construction. And also you'll have new businesses being established, and existing business will grow. Because if you have more hotels, you'll have more demand for eatery, you'll have more demands for taxi service, you'll have more demands for all sorts of services that all visitors will want to access when they come to the island. And if anyone check and see what this government is doing, you know, everything we're doing is meant to connect the dots as we go. Connect projects and development, proposed developments to each other. This expansion of the airport, I will say that we have been getting calls almost every day. When are you going to start? We have our plans we want to execute, but we want to see you start that airport. in order to ensure that we have the confidence that when we put our development plans on the ground and start to execute, then the access to the island will be there. We get those calls. And not only that, I will say to you that this airport will also ensure that Nevis becomes what we have always wanted it to be, and that is an island that boasts of its beauty and boasts of what we have here. We want persons to come and enjoy them. These amenities as well too. Enjoy these amenities as well. But I was saying that the airport, for example, is connected to other development because, of course, we hear that we have cheap energy here on the island of Nevis through a geothermal or proposed geothermal project. Then, of course, that will certainly open up the doors for other investments to come to this island. Yeah, and so that is connected there. And of course, I said last week, the Destiny project is connected to what is contemplated with geothermal and what is contemplated with the development of this new airport. Because persons who come to the airport who are going to live over in the Destiny area on the south of Nevis will have to fly into Nevis. And of course, the fly-in, we wanted to come directly to Nevis and then go over. Some of them will come with their private jets. They'll park over there, pay all of the necessary fees, and then they go to their home. So everything is interconnected, and that's how you plan development and execute development. And I want those in the federal government to understand, listen, we didn't come with these plans and programs overnight. They have been done with a plan that started with water, started with electricity, started with a road, started with all of the different infrastructural upgrade here on the island, and then now we are moving into the larger developments that we are hoping will deliver this island and bring the type of revenue generation and returns to the island of Nevis, and of course, improve the lives of the people here on Nevis. Some may say they're the best thing for Nevis. I say it's the best thing to keep it from them. But I'm telling you that the CCM, the Concerned Citizens Movement in government, has always said that we want better for the island of Nevis, better for the people of Nevis, and we are providing better for you because we have always said we are going to leave Nevis better than we left it. And we are not ready to go anywhere yet, but we will leave it better than we met it. And so all of these projects that we are seeking to roll out are meant to make the island of Nevis and the lives of Nevisians better than what it is now. We have a generation to build this island for. Said it last week that we are preparing this island for those among us who have more in front of them than those who have less in front of them. So those who have more in front of them, I am more concerned about them at this point in time. I'm not disregarding anyone, but I want to say to you that this island is being prepared for our young men and young women who, many of them have already established businesses and want to execute and go to work and get some revenue going for them and their family. Many of them have sons and daughters, have to send them to school, have to provide a living for them. And so we as a government understand that, and that is why we are so gung-ho about getting these projects off the ground and getting them done, whereby the benefits will be realized by our young people, even the old and the not so old. But the young people are the ones who are clamoring for these things. They want to be a part of the action, and they look at various islands and they say, well, why can't we be like them too? And I agree with their question. I endorse their question. Why can't we be like them? And we can be better than them. Yeah. The saying is, Nevis is as good as any and better than many. Yeah. So, young people, we're working for you. And we'll continue to work for you because better days are coming for you. And we'll continue to strive and to work and to ensure that we're pressing ahead to make sure that things become better for you right here in your land of your birth. And with that, I believe time run out fast, boy, and I even touch some of the issues yet. But anyway, like I said, that is what we are about. And of course, I'm not going to start any new issue, but these days you're hearing a lot of talk about federal elections. I don't know when it's going to come, but I want the people of Nevis to know that the only party that has represented the people of Nevis and the island of Nevis over in St. Kitts at the federal level with class and dignity, and to make sure that Nevis is well represented and our cause is addressed over there, is the Concerned Citizens Movement. And that is why the people of Nevis continue to place their confidence in the Concerned Citizens Movement. That is why we have 3 federal representatives at this time, and you never hear not one of them say that Nevis no want nothing over there. We always feel like every and anything that is due to Nevis must come. And some may not like it, but this party is not beholden to any party in St. Kitts. We stand on our own because we understand when we stand on our own, we have strength, the strength of the people of Nevis behind us. We don't waffle in any way. So those who want to be dictated to from a party in St. Kitts, let them go ahead and be dictated to. We stand on solid ground because we know the people of Nevis stand with us, around us, and along with us. And that is why we'll be resolute in our actions and performance when it comes to the federal level. And so when the time comes, I don't know, some are clamoring for it, but when the time comes, I know the people of Nevis will ensure that Nevis 9, 10, and 11 are returned for the Concerned Citizens Movement, because all who have come and all who have been sent and all who have been selected, I know for sure they don't have the island of Nevis at heart. So let's leave it there. I hear the music in my ears and it's time to wrap up. So thank you for listening once again. It's another Friday afternoon and we're going to close out now and say thank you. And let's say, as always, if you go to church on a Sunday, go and serve your go and serve your God. And if you go on a Sunday, do likewise. Say a prayer for this station, say a prayer for me and the whole of St. Kitts and Nevis and the leadership, so that we can make the right decisions for and on behalf of the people of this federation. Thank you very much. My time is up and I'm out of here. Have a wonderful weekend. God bless you, and see you again next week, God's willing.
Views and opinions expressed on the preceding program were solely those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Nevis Broadcasting Company Limited or its advertisers.
With all the power from the tower, this